Welcome to the Thea Lee podcast. It's January 29th, 2026, and we are on day 29 of our reading through the Bible. We continue today with the young Elihu speaking to Job and his friends. He starts out telling Job about God's justice, and he says, "Do you think it's right for you to claim I am righteous before God? Because you also say, 'What is in it for me? And what's the use of living a righteous life?' Well, look up to the sky. If you sin, how does that affect God? Even if you sin again and again, what effect will it have on him? And if you are good, is this some great gift to him? What could you possibly give him? No, your sins affect only people like yourself, and your good deeds also affect only humans." Then he says that people cry out when they are oppressed, but if they do not seek the Lord, when they cry out, God does not answer them because of their pride. And then he says, it's wrong to say that God doesn't listen, or to say that the Almighty isn't concerned. You say that you can't see him, but he will bring justice if you will only wait. You say he doesn't respond to sinners with anger, and he's not greatly concerned about wickedness, but you are talking nonsense, Job. You've spoken like a fool. And then he says, let me go on, for I have not finished defending God. I will present profound arguments for the righteousness of my Creator. I am telling you nothing but the truth, for I am a man of great knowledge. Then he goes on to say that God is mighty, but he doesn't despise anyone. He's mighty in both power and understanding. He doesn't let the wicked live, but he gives justice to the afflicted. He shows them their sins of pride, and he gets their attention and commands that they turn from evil. If they listen and obey God, then they will be blessed with prosperity through their lives. But if they don't, by means of their suffering, God will rescue those who suffer, because he gets their attention through adversity. So God is leading you away from danger, Job, to a place free from distress. He is setting your table with the best food, but you are obsessed with whether the godless will be judged. Well, don't worry, judgment and justice will be upheld. But watch out, or you may be seduced by wealth. So he's pretty much saying here that Job is being protected. He said, be on guard, turn back from evil, for God sent this suffering to keep you from a life of evil. So there's purpose in it. And then he goes on to talk about God's power. And he says, no one is like God. Who could be a teacher like him? We should glorify his mighty works and sing songs of praise. No one can tell him what to do or say to him, you have done wrong. Then he says, look, God is greater than we can understand. His years cannot be counted. He draws up the water vapor and distills it into rain, and he goes on to talk about the amazing works that God does through thunder and lightning, and how he directs the snow to fall, and how when these weather changes happen, that everyone stops working so they can watch the power of God. The clouds churn from God's commands. He makes things happen either to punish people or to show his unfailing love. So he says for Job to pay attention, stop and consider the wonderful miracles of God. Do you know how God controls the storm and causes the lightning to flash from his clouds? Do you understand how he moves the clouds with the wonderful perfection and skill? When you are sweltering in your clothes and the south wind dies down and everything is still, he makes the skies reflect the heat like a bronze mirror. Can you do that? So teach the rest of us what to say to God. We are too ignorant to make our own arguments. Should God be notified that I want to speak? Can people even speak when they are confused? We can't imagine the power of the Almighty, but even though he is just and righteous, and he does not destroy us, so no wonder people everywhere fear him, and all who are wise show him reverence. So Elihu is really trying to say that Job should not be saying bad things about the Lord. He's upset that Job doesn't seem to remember the power of God, and they're all trying to figure out God's character and say that Job must have sinned if these bad things are happening to him. But I think this story is showing us that there's no way that we can know all the details of what God is doing. Obviously, in this case, we know Job has not sinned, and God is still doing amazing works by allowing him to go through suffering, and he will bring good through it. There's no way for us to know all of the big picture aspects that the Lord knows. We can only see the small details of our lives, and that's what's happening here with Job, is all he knows is that he is suffering. He doesn't know the extent of what God is doing. And so that's the same in our lives today. We get stuck in the small details of our day-to-day lives. There's no way for us to see the big picture of what God is doing in the realm of history, honestly, that we play. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk again tomorrow.